And what we've done is we've done this in a sort of three-part process. First of all, reaching out to the clubs to look and see how much heading actually took place within training. So we get really good buy-in from the clubs, particularly in the professional game, who analyse that data all the time. So that gave us a basis of both starting to understand the amount of heading that was taking place and that working with the clubs. The second thing we did was we furthered that engagement. So through PFA Scotland and Fraser Wishott's team, we surveyed the players in Scotland. Through my colleagues at Scottish FA, we surveyed coaches and managers on the clubs to try and build a sort of collective responsibility. So it's not for a governing body or for me as a medical doctor to put demands on people. It's trying to get us all to work together in the game to try and reduce the incidence of dementia in the future. If we waited for another 40 years till the next lot of science, then we would have missed the boat. So we're really keen on safeguarding the health and well-being of these players. So the third part of that process was then to put in place these guidelines, which we feel are proportionate and pragmatic, and will try to reduce that overall heading burden that takes place during the week. So that the initial feedback, the initial work that we did with the clubs was really positive. The clubs were more than happy to help in that regard. The second thing is when we had our first set of draft guidelines, we sent them round the clubs to have a look at, to give us feedback, to be critical where being critical was the appropriate thing to do. And in fact, we were pleasantly surprised how little negative feedback there was from the clubs, and generally supportive. And surveys of players and coaches have again been supportive, and a great willingness to alter and change training programs. And that's part of why we've come up with the 3 key points of the guidelines that we have. I think we can look at what we can directly influence. The laws of the game are made out with Scotland, they're made by AGFAB and made by others. You know, we can influence that. For example, you know, there are more red cards now for elbows into the face, into the head, that type of thing. So the law has been changed to try and reduce the number of head impacts. Our focus has really been more guidelines-wise on good head injury management, and at the same time, you know, trying to reduce the phrase I keep using, that overall heading burden, trying to reduce the number of unnecessary headers that would take place in a player's normal week. Heading's part of football, and for, at least for the near future, will continue. Our drive really in training is to reduce unnecessary heading. So we're not saying that coaches can't do heading drills. We're not saying that they can't do them when they're practicing set pieces. We're looking to reduce unnecessary heading. So limit it to heading that's part of that coaching process, part of what the coach wants to get over. And as you know, we've asked in the guidelines for heading practice not to be in match day -1 and match day +1, so that we can reduce the amount of heading that will take place in that 48-hour period around a match.